Shoba was born with a challenge, a peculiar brain disorder that restricted normal growth of the brain. Due to this reason, she confesses being academically weak in her initial years. What is really remarkable is that she went on to do her master's in industrial psychology and eventually making a mark in the advertising world. Interaction with her amazed me no end. She's a bundle of energy and has a way with people. No wonder she is such a successful advertising person. After all, advertising is a people's business.
She comes into work like it's the first day at work. And I mean, I think having been around for as long as she has and doing everything that she's done, it's remarkable how much energy she can bring to work every day. So it's the same passion and the same intensity every day. God knows how she does that.
She makes sure that everybody in the office carries that energy. At a lot of times we have to borrow energy from her, which she doesn't mind. She doesn't mind spreading her energy out, and that's necessary for us to be able to work properly, and that's actually the most positive thing about her.
She always on the lookout for opportunities where she can help somebody or improve a situation that they're in. On the social front, I know that she being actively involved in trying to help and pass down the knowledge and use that knowledge to the betterment. Money is one way to do it, but passing the knowledge and putting in your own time is also important.
Give me some of the examples of challenges that you have faced, like you have faced and you've come out of it, because I know you've been through so many in your life with all the career that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, there's a small problem that, you know, the oxygen, you breathe through your mouth, so the amount of oxygen that your brain requires at the time when, you know, your brain is actually at its best potential expansion was not there. So I have voids in my brain, actually.
Okay.
And to a great extent, I would like to tell people that I used to actually fail in 5 of the 6 subjects, and I would only pass in 1. And I don't know how I made it till about grade 6. And in India, you don't recognize anything other than an analytical brain. So what happens is that everybody around you looks at you either as a success or a failure based on how you perform at school. And I didn't perform well at school. I was always the class leader and stuff like that, but it was a class leader with basically who literally failed in all her subjects, right? So I think something didn't sit well with me, and I had my brother who was a natural, who, you know, got 100 on 100 in every subject, and I literally, I think my parents had to beg the teachers to sort of put me into the next class, especially because I was tall as well. And so I took it as a challenge. So from a neutral position of sort of a neutral player, I put it into an overdrive, and today I'm still on overdrive. And now I want to go back to neutral, and I don't know how to do it.
Tell us a bit about your corporate journey, from where you started out to how you reach equity advertising, the companies you work with, challenges that you faced.
When I came in here, you know, I was a Stark junior, and I just trained in advertising in India. I came out here, and I was keen to join, you know, a happening agency. And in those days, you know, India didn't have the confidence it has today. Asians were considered, you know, sort of not quite there, especially in client servicing kind of roles. And I went to FP7. I fixed up an interview with Donald Killelly. I called him myself, and I said, I need to see you now. And I think he was a little taken aback by the way I made the call. And he had me in his office, and he didn't even bother to look at my resume, which upset me a little bit because, you know, I'd done masters, I was a gold medalist, and, you know, I'd started my PhD and stuff like that. He just set it aside, and he said, you know, he asked me a few questions, and one of it was, how do you take to swearings? I said, I'm pretty cool about it. And he said, how do you take to shouting? So I said, well, if it's fair, I'll sulk for a little while. And I said, if it's unfair, I'll shout back, I said. And I said, I don't care who, including you. I actually snapped, and I said, including you. And I was just being myself, because that's who I was. Right. And Donald looked at me like I was out of Mars or whatever it is. He pushed his chair back, and he said, you're on.
Wow.
So I started the next day, and within 2 weeks, actually, I had the agency in my pocket because it was the most chaotic, but I don't think I would trade it for anything. And Donald is pretty abusive and very tough, but I would stand my ground. Yeah. And then I joined the other agency, which is Publicis now. It was called Public Graphics. They were the #1. I went there as an account manager, and for the 2.5 years that I worked there, literally every month, Donald would call me and say, I'm looking for a senior account director. Do you know anybody? And I would always tell him, you're talking to her. And you'd say, yeah, so when are you joining? When are you joining? So within 2.5 years, so 10 months and 2.5 years later, I joined FP7 back as account director. But when I joined him, I told him I want to start my own business. So, you know, can I do something that will... He said, no, sign on the dotted lines. He said, what do you want? I said, I want a BMW car. He put that also in the, on the contract.
You said your terms, what you want.
Yeah, and I told him I want to start business. But he had the insight. He told me, I'll give you 1 year. You sign here, I'll give you 1 year. You go start whatever you want and come back. I'll wait for you. Okay. So I went back as a partner in FP7. Imagine I mean, just 5 years before that, I was a Stark junior, and 5 years post that... And he told you to be fired
in 2 weeks, and now he's calling you back every now
and then I became a partner. Yeah. I mean, Donald then became my partner, but I really admired the fact that, you know, he saw the potential, and I used to keep telling him, Donald, you're Irish and I'm Indian. I mean, there must be some karma that, you know, you keep wanting to have me back in the agency. Sometimes you ask yourself, what are you doing in life? And you're bored. You're still bored because 7 Below started doing well, Communique was doing well, and equity was just taking off. So I just one day decided that I was going to sell Communique and 7 Below. I went and told Donald. He was, of course, shocked because nobody in their right senses would walk away from a partnership with. And I was a 45% stakeholder.
Wow.
So I told him I'm going off to Canada to cook pasta. So
that was it?
Yeah, he thought I was joking, but actually, anyway, I sold my shares. They paid me the money, and people asked me, why didn't you keep your shares and go? I said, that does not really work, especially in a larger setup. Yes. I sold Communique. I left equity, and I pushed off to Canada for a year. I thought, you know, let me sort of smell the coffee, enjoy life. And when I went to Canada, I realized that I'm at my best when I'm being productive, quite honestly. Or when I say productive, in terms of doing something that excites me. I mean, work excites me.
Sure.
Within a year, I come back to Dubai. And so I said, it's better that I now develop equity and sort of get it going. So what I did was I got a team together, and everybody wanted a better salary. So I said, okay, listen, in any case, I want to make this a different place. So I said, let's do one thing where a few people become profit share, you know, end of the year profit share. And I started a quarterly bonus system, and nobody believed me. And when we first started, like I said, we were making a loss. But from the first quarter onwards, we started giving a quarterly bonus. 4 years in a row, we did what we did, and we did it well. It was not like we were minting money, but I said, we'll grow and let all of us grow together, you know, personally, mentally, financially, and stuff like that.
What does success mean to you?
Success means different things to different people. For some, it's money, or for some, it's, you know, stardom in terms of recognition. I think personally, for me, it's a challenge. If something is not challenging, then I get bored. The moment the challenge is over, money doesn't, it's secondary.
You get a total high when you're in that environment of challenge. That's what drives you totally.
100%. Yeah.
So is it about the goal that you reach, or is it about the journey?
I think it's all the journey, and that's what's the exciting part.
We're an inspiring story from you about your journey, but where you've been. Let's take a break, and I'll see you soon.
I don't carry baggage. So when you don't carry baggage, you're much lighter. So you attack each day as the day comes. And I think women multitask.
Yeah.
Women are pretty good.
And they're good at it.
They're very good at it.